It's time for Retire Right with Reverse Rob, diving deeper into housing wealth and utilizing a portion of your home's equity as a coordinated strategy in retirement planning. Now here's your host, Senior Retirement Mortgage Specialist at Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, Rob Canier.
Hey, welcome to the Retire Right with Reverse Rob podcast. I'm your host, Rob Canier. My NMLS ID is 204420 and Fairway NMLS ID is 2289. I am a retirement mortgage specialist with Fairway Home Mortgage. And what does that mean? That means that I'm a loan officer that focuses solely on reverse mortgages for homeowners age 55 and older. The key to this product, because of the history of it and the myths and stigma associated with it, the key to this product is to educate homeowners, financial advisors, realtors, CPAs, attorneys on how this loan has evolved since 1961 to present. We are now in 2026 as I record this podcast, and a lot has changed over the course of the last 60 years with this type of financing. This, in fact, has become the safest and most secure lending instrument for someone age 55 and older to take out in retirement, if it makes sense. There are cases where it doesn't make sense, but majority of the time now in this modern era reverse mortgage time, it does make sense to do. And I'm going to explain that to you and answer all your questions and concerns, because that's the biggest thing. There seems to be a disconnect with this, much like there was back in the day with long-term care insurance, term life policies, annuities, so on and so forth. So we are getting close to reaching the tipping point or critical mass with the new and improved retirement mortgage. And I'm excited about that. And I'm just excited to share with you and just be honest and transparent with you on if this is a good fit for you or someone that you know. What I wanted to do today was really dive into a case study, because what I found in explaining the reverse mortgage to individuals when I meet with them, do a Zoom call or in person or over the phone, is that facts tell and stories sell. So if I could paint a picture or tell you a story of an individual that it was very near and dear to me, which happened to be my very own in-laws, and their journey with the reverse mortgage, I think that might help you along with maybe finding something in common with them, maybe not. But with their situation, they were in their late 70s, early 80s. They had a home in Phoenix, North Phoenix, that was essentially paid off. They could have written a check for $20-some thousand and paid off that mortgage. And the reason that homeowners age 55 and older want to pay off their home is because it's been conditioned in us since the Great Depression. In the Great Depression, if you owned a home, or you did not own a home, or you had a mortgage on the home or a loan on the home during the Great Depression, they essentially took the house away. So that evolved from the 1930s to the 1940s to post-World War II into the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, and in the 80s, when interest rates were near 20% and people would pay off their homes to have mortgage note burning parties. People are still stuck in that era. People still think that the yield sign is yellow. So as you're watching this or listening to this, picture a yield sign right now and what color comes to mind. For a majority of people that are Gen X or older, they're picturing a yellow yield sign. And I have some news for you as you're driving or sitting there drinking your coffee. Yield signs have not been yellow since the mid-1970s. They are now red and white. Reverse mortgages used to be bad in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s even. Now they're good. Safest and most secure lending instrument you can take out at age 55 or older. So many safety features and guardrails on this loan that it would take me an hour to explain all those. And maybe we will take an hour on one of our segments to talk about the safety features of the new and improved retirement mortgage. But let's get back to mom and dad. and talk a little bit more about their situation. They were in a position where they had a large amount or a sizable amount of money in their retirement, to the tune of, let's just say, $1 million in retirement. Dad worked as an aerospace engineer for a prominent aerospace company. Prior to that, he did work for NASA, and he did some work on the Hubble telescope. Mom worked for a major airline. She was an executive assistant for the CFO of a major airline. So my point for telling you that is they had a background of jobs, careers where they actually had pensions. I don't know if all of you remember what a pension is, but that was something that they used to, and very rarely now will pay an individual for their work that they did for 30, 40 years. In addition to that, they had their required minimum distributions, what we refer to as RMDs, coming in from their investments that they were required to take every year. And of course, the infamous Social Security income that was coming in. So let's just say that their income was anywhere between $80,000 to $100,000 a year. They had virtually no debt. They had almost a free and clear home, almost paid off. They could write a check, and that's what Dad was going to do. And they had ample amount in their retirement funds. Should they have done a reverse mortgage? And when I ask that question, when I'm teaching continuing education to real estate agents or certified financial planners, a majority will shake their head and say, no, why the heck would they take out a loan for broke people? And I'll explain why they took the loan out. It was not for broke people any longer. The reason that we had them take it out is because we wanted to eliminate that existing mortgage and mortgage payment without paying off the home. Having a free and clear paid off home in retirement is not only inefficient, it is a huge liability from a title fraud and title theft standpoint. When I say liability, talk to an estate planning attorney or an elder law attorney about having a free and clear home, and they're going to tell you that's not a good idea. If you're over 75 and still driving a car, a lot of estate planning attorneys will tell you, please put the keys away and do not drive your car anymore. It's a huge liability because if you get in an accident, and heaven forbid you kill someone, they're going to go after your monthly income. They're going to go after your portfolio, your assets under management, and then they're going to go after any equity in your home. So we're going to talk more about the liability protection of a reverse mortgage when we have my estate planning attorneys join us as a guest on the show. But today I want to get back to just why Mom and Dad did this. So number one, most important thing, as you know, in retirement, if you listen to my previous podcast, is cash flow. So we eliminated a $1,300 a month principal and interest mortgage payment, which cash flowed them by $15,000 a year. They were overspending their required minimum distribution, so they were pulling more than they needed to out of their retirement. So they were going to run out of money sooner. They just didn't know it. $1 million goes by really fast, especially if you have one or both spouses that are having health issues and seek medical attention. So we are able to turn down the amount of money that they were taking in their withdrawals from their portfolio, and also prevent sequence of returns risk where they were pulling money out at a high rate when the market was down. That's sequence of returns risk. And we'll talk more about that and elaborate more about that when we have some of my financial advisors on the show. By putting the reverse mortgage in place, we were able to not only save them $15,000 a year by not having a mandatory mortgage payment and making it optional, we were able to save them over $10,000 a year in income taxes. They were paying $10,000 less a year in income taxes by putting the reverse mortgage in place. Thirdly, we were able to protect the surviving spouse in the event that the surviving spouse wanted to remain in the home once the other spouse predeceased them. That happened in 2020. We lost one of our parents unexpectedly, and the surviving spouse was able to remain in the home because they had no mortgage payment to pay, and that worked out very well for them. And I see it happen on a monthly basis where that happens with one spouse predeceases the other. It happens. We're not going to get out of here alive. None of us are going to make it out of here alive. And that does occur. And when you have a reverse mortgage put in place ahead of time, It will allow that surviving spouse to remain in the home if they wish to. It's going to be much more affordable because what happens when you lose a spouse is your income typically goes down on average by 40 to 60%. You take a pay cut, and then you're trying to manage one or two mortgages and all the bills and all the medical bills that come with that and all the maintenance and upkeep of the home, and that costs a lot of money, especially with rising inflation, gas prices, insurance costs through the roof, property taxes increasing. They are literally forced out of their home and they don't want to leave their home. The fourth thing that mom and dad were able to do by putting the reverse mortgage in place was leave a larger legacy for their heirs. That was very, very important to them. To us heirs, it was not important to us. 95% of heirs would say the same thing. We wanted them to be upside down at the end with a reverse mortgage, which is a natural occurrence, and for the non-recourse, no personal liability clause to kick in, where we simply mail the keys back to FHA, no questions asked, no personal liability. No one is left holding the bag when that happens. We wanted to bounce the check at the funeral home. We didn't expect any of the money in the retirement account to be left in there. We wanted them to spend it all. So we wanted them to use up all their equity because that was their equity they had built over decades. And we wanted them to use up all of their money from their portfolio that they had put away and worked hard for the last 40 to 50 years. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Life happens. As I mentioned, we lost one parent in 2020 unexpectedly. And then the second parent followed in 2023 due to cognitive decline from Alzheimer's. So my point for giving you that story or that case study is it will resonate with you or someone that you forward this podcast or talk to about this. It is imperative with this loan that we seek guidance from a true professional that is experienced and has actually does these for a living. I do not know how to do a regular mortgage, and I don't want to know how to do a regular mortgage, but I do know how to do reverse mortgages. I do know when it makes sense, and I also know when it doesn't make sense, and we will tell the client and their referral partner that exact same thing. So the best thing to do is get the facts, get all your questions answered, check out the credibility of the individuals that you're talking to. Make sure they have a high rating on Google, Better Business Bureau. Ask them how many of these they've closed. Run them through the ringer. Ask them the hard questions. I love getting the hard questions because the harder the question, the easier the answer for me because I've done so many of these. But we are looking to change lives and change the course of retirement in this country, and we can no longer ignore over $15 trillion of untapped equity that is stuck in baby boomers' homes right now, doing absolutely nothing for them. So I'd encourage you to give us a call at 602-REVERSE, 602-738-3773, or visit our website at www.reverserob.com, or simply email me at robk@home.com. Let's do an initial consultation. It doesn't cost you anything. Get an information pack out to you along with a book for you to read through. Get the kids involved, please. Get the relatives involved. As long as they're open-minded and they're willing to learn, then we will have a great conversation about this. Get your real estate agents involved. We have upcoming continuing education for realtors. Get your certified financial planners, get your financial advisors involved. They're starting to come around after about a decade here with the research that was done by one of their very own colleagues, the most respected and highly sought after retirement researchers in the nation, Dr. Wade Pfau. Dr. Wade Pfau received his PhD from Princeton in retirement planning. He is the top retirement researcher, probably the only retirement researcher in the nation, who created the American College, who created the RICP program for financial advisors, retirement income certified professionals. He knows his stuff. He's a good friend. I consider him a good friend. He's been on my show before. He's going to be on the show again. We're going to have him on to explain and talk about climbing Mount Everest in retirement and where most of the bodies are found. We're going to be talking about sequence of returns risk. We're going to be talking about why reverse mortgages receive such a bum rap over the years, and why now more and more financial advisors are taking a serious look at this. Folks, if you have a certified financial planner or a comprehensive planner or a holistic planner handling your finances, and they're ignoring the $15 trillion worth of home equity that is trapped in seasoned homeowners' homes right now, it's time for you to find a new advisor or a new financial planner, and we can help you with that. Again, Rob Canier from the Retire Right with Reverse Rob show. Glad to be back on with our podcast, now on video. Super exciting, much more ahead. We're excited to have you.